There's a steel box buried in some rich man's backyard right now. It cost him $80,000. A prefab shelter company sold it to him with a Swiss air filtration system and a bulletproof hatch. And here is what nobody told him. Every single function that box performs was solved more than 60 years ago by a government scientist working for free. The air pump, the radiation meter, the shielding, the geometry. All of it published in a manual you can download tonight. All of it built from cardboard, plywood, a coffee can, and dirt. The same protection, for a few dollars in materials. This is not a theory. It is a declassified civil defense manual sitting on a government server right now, and the bunker industry would very much prefer you never opened it. It is not hard. It was made simple on purpose by people who wanted you to live. You're watching the Survival Research. If you have not subscribed yet, hit subscribe and the bell. Let me show you what that $80,000 box actually does, and what each part costs to copy. People think a shelter is about thick walls and a heavy door. It is not. The first thing that kills you in a sealed shelter is the air. A small underground room full of people becomes a death trap in hours. Carbon dioxide climbs, heat climbs, humidity climbs. The civil defense engineers measured this with real people in real shelters. Even in cold weather, you need about 3 cubic feet of fresh air per minute, per person, just to keep carbon dioxide from reaching harmful levels. In hot weather, you need many times that, or the body heat of the people inside will cook everyone in the room. Dry earth is a good insulator, which sounds nice until you realize it traps every bit of heat you produce. Within hours, a shelter that was saving your life starts trying to end it. That Swiss filtration unit the company installed solves it with electricity and replaceable cartridges. No power, no airflow. And in the exact scenario you built the bunker for, the power grid is the first thing to fail. Stop the video for a second. Here's what I actually pulled together. 3 things the bunker industry sells as $10,000 systems, rebuilt from the original declassified blueprints. The hand-powered air pump that moves more air than most electric units and never needs a battery. The homemade radiation meter that tells you the exact hour it is safe to come out. And the shielding math that turns an ordinary basement corner into a real shelter for the cost of the dirt already in your yard. Real dimensions, real materials. The original government documents laid out step by step. It is all in the suppressed file, step by step. Scan the QR code on your screen or hit the first link in the description and get it now. Let me keep going. Still watching? Good. Then you already know more than the man who paid full price for the box. Subscribe and share this with someone who thinks safety has to come with an invoice. The link to everything is in the description. Now stay with me, because this is where the engineering gets good. Back to that air problem, because the fix is almost insulting in how simple it is. In 1962, a scientist named Cresson Kearny, working from research at Oak Ridge National Laboratory, built a pump that needs no electricity at all. He modeled it on the punka, an ancient hand fan used for centuries in hot countries. But unlike a fan, his version forces air in one chosen direction. It is a true pump. The Office of Civil Defense named it the Kearny Air Pump. It is a rectangular wooden frame hung in a doorway, swinging like a pendulum. Lightweight flaps of plastic sheet act as one-way valves. Pull a cord and the flaps slam shut, shoving a wall of air forward through the shelter. A standard model is about 3 feet wide. It moves more air with less effort than the powered fans the manuals tested against it. Plywood, a few hinges, plastic sheeting, and a length of cord. A few dollars against a filtration system that costs more than a car. And here is the detail that proves it works. In 1981, Kearny ran ventilation tests with Chinese civil defense officials in the port city of Dalian. Real shelters, real heat. The hand pump kept them survivable. Now the second function of that expensive box, knowing when it is safe to leave. This is the one most people never think about, and it is the one that kills the survivors. You can ride out the blast, you can ride out the worst of the fallout, and then walk outside 2 days too early and die anyway. Because radiation is invisible. You cannot see it, smell it, or feel the dose that kills you. The bunker company will sell you an electronic dosimeter for hundreds of dollars. It runs on a battery that will be dead at the exact moment your life depends on it. Kearny solved this one too. The Kearny Fallout Meter, a small charged electroscope built from a coffee can, 2 thin strips of aluminum foil, a few common household items, and a thread. You charge it by friction, the way a balloon sticks to a wall. It reads gamma radiation, by how fast the 2 charged leaves of foil drift back together. The faster they fall, the higher the radiation. You read it with a ruler, no battery, no circuit board, nothing that can fail in a way you cannot fix with your hands. It was tested at Oak Ridge against laboratory instruments, and it holds up. With it, you know the hour the radiation outside has dropped low enough to move. Without it, you are gambling your family's lives on a guess, a tin can and a sheet of foil, under $5. Now, the part the entire shelter industry depends on you not understanding. They sell you walls, reinforced concrete, 10-gauge steel, blast-rated hatches, and mass does stop radiation. That part is true. But here's the number they bury. Gamma radiation is cut in half by roughly 3.6 inches of packed earth. Stack 10 of those halving layers and you cut the radiation by about 1,000 times. 10 times 3.6 inches is 36 inches. 3 feet of plain dirt gives you a protection factor near 1,000. That is the whole secret. That is what the $80,000 shell is really buying you. 3 feet of ordinary mass between you and the sky. And dirt is free. It is already in your yard. You do not even need to dig a deep hole. The Federal Civil Defense Manuals spell out the equivalents in plain numbers. Roughly 7 inches of earth, 10 inches of water, or 14 inches of stacked books, each equal 4 inches of concrete. A heavy table, boxes of packed dirt or sand around it and on top. Filled water containers, stacked books and magazines. You build a shielded core inside an existing basement in a single afternoon, for the cost of nothing you do not already own. But there is one more piece the industry never mentions, and it costs nothing at all. Geometry. Gamma rays travel in straight lines. If your shelter entrance turns at a right angle, the radiation cannot follow it around the corner. A single right angle turn in the passage cuts the radiation coming through it by about 90%. The same protection factor the prefab companies charge a luxury car price to deliver. Let me be honest about what this is and what it is not. This will not save you from a direct blast at ground zero. Nothing a private citizen builds will. It does not replace a structural engineer if you are excavating a real underground room. And potassium iodide protects only your thyroid. It is not a general radiation pill, no matter who tells you otherwise. This is the file the bunker industry hates. Scan the QR code on your screen or hit the first link in the description and get it now. What these techniques replace is the fear markup. The $40,000 to $120,000 invoice for functions that were solved, tested, and published for free decades ago. Every piece of this came from real engineers, Oak Ridge National Laboratory, Federal Civil Defense Manuals, NATO field references, not preppers, not salesmen, scientists who wanted ordinary families to live without paying anyone a cent. So here's the choice. You can believe survival has a price tag of $80,000, and most people will, because the box looks impressive. Or you can learn what a government scientist already proved with plywood, a coffee can, 3 feet of dirt, and a single right angle turn. The manual was declassified. It was always free. They just made sure it looked too cheap to be real. If this opened your eyes, subscribe and share it with someone who still thinks safety has to be expensive. The engineering was never lost. It was buried. Now you have the shovel.